Unstructured, totally, which would suit your style, right?
Yes, it would indeed.
Okay, so you state your name, rank, and serial number, and then say where you've been since 1972, and anything else you want to do to fill in, folks.
I'm Michael Esau, and actually I graduated from Chapel Hill High in the summer of 1971, and then I spent the next 10 years attending the University of North Carolina.
10 years?
10 years, off and on.
You picked up where now Frank left off.
And I eventually got me a degree in mathematics. In the meantime, though, I worked in restaurants around town. I learned reinforced steel, they call them rod busters. I worked on 2 nuclear power plants, one in Apex, North Carolina, and then the one down in the South Texas project in Bay City. And I went into the Army for close to 2 years during that time. And then when I graduated, I was sitting up, and he's not here, talking to Ellie, the barmaid, and she was going, Mike, what would you like to do now that you finally got your degree from UNC? I said, I don't know, Ellie. They just fired a bunch of air traffic controllers. I think I'll try that. And I'm still an air traffic controller.
Cool. All right. How about that? Well, I worked at that Apex nuclear plant.
What were you doing?
It was being built. I was working for Carolina.
Were you in the hole?
No, I was a student in engineering at NC State.
Yeah.
And so I worked for CP&L in the summer over at the Harris Energy and Environmental Center.
Yeah.
And me and a buddy would grab a bunch of drawings and a white hat, and we'd go over to the site and walk around.
No, I mean, did you walk around when it was in the hole? Because I was there at the initial.
Let's see, they
dig in the hole.
They had the containment vessel was not closed in. They were loading equipment into it, so they were loading the pressure vessel.
You were there after me. I was there when they were laying the foundation, the 30-foot steel and concrete foundation, humping number 18s with the Lumbies from Lumberton.
Now, you remember the pressure vessels, the great big pressure vessels? They bought 4 of them.
They all came after me, because when I was there. Go ahead.
Well, let me tell you what happened.
Okay.
I flew over that plant after it started operating in a little teeny airplane before they disallowed such things. Because I heard that the 4 pressure vessels, except for the one they put in use, were still laying there. And sure enough, here's these great big multi-million-dollar pieces of equipment just sitting out in the yard. You know, because they planned 4 and built 1 reactor, right?
Yeah. No, when I was there, they were already scaled back to 2, I think. And I was at the very beginning.
Maybe they do. I thought they built 1.
I think
maybe they built 1 and then many years later built the second one.
Probably. But see, I left there and went to Bay City, where they are already out of the ground and had one of the containment buildings already built, and I was on the second one. Here's a construction story for you. I'm hanging out 300 feet in the air on my number 18 hook, getting ready to hang some 18 rods and stuff, and I'm looking down, and all the buildings are going up, the containment building, the fuel processing building. I'm working on the reactor shell. I go, how come that containment building is still down there? You know, it had the concrete for the foundation built, but it wasn't going up anymore, and all the rest of the place was going up. And they go, oh, that thing's about a foot short. You know what I'm talking about, right? When the idiot sits on the end of the tape, the smart guy sits on the other end, and then the guy shooting the level to do your benchmark. He said, cut me a foot.
Cut me a foot, exactly.
Guy didn't know what it was. He held it on the very end of the tape. They didn't figure it out until they poured like 300,000 yards of concrete.
My God.
And I said, well, what are they going to do? And they said, they're still determining if it will cost more to redo all the designs all the way up or to blow it up out of the ground and start over.
Good grief. Wow.
Because they never went back to recheck from the benchmark for the site until,